Our first speaker, Robyn Bolton. Your success is killing innovation. Here's how to fix it. Robyn, I can see you. Can you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear.
And I can hear you. The floor is yours.
Excellent. Thank you. So, all right. I want you to start off by picturing a boardroom, very much like this one. And at the center of the table is sitting the CEO of a Fortune 50 company. Now, to his right is the COO. To his left is the CFO. And in front of him is a very nervous brand team because they have just finished recommending the launch of a brand new brand. Actually, the first brand this company has launched in decades, despite an amazing reputation as a brand builder. Now, this decision of whether or not to launch the new brand really rests on two pieces of data. The first is outstanding data. It's from the test markets, and revenue was 4 times what was predicted. But those test markets were 2 small towns in the US. The other piece of data is not so good. In fact, it's terrible. But it's data from a simulation. Now, every product that the company has launched in the last 50 years has gone through this simulation, and it has never been wrong. With 100% accuracy, this simulation has predicted how each new product would perform in the first year. And its prediction for this new brand is that it will be the bottom 3 of all product launches. Not bottom third, not bottom 3%, bottom 3. So the CEO is faced with a dilemma. Do you go with the test market data and launch the brand? Or do you go with the simulation and kill the project? Now, I'm going to take a vote because I can see most of you. You're all leaders. You're all CEOs, so you know how tough this is. So raise your hand if you would launch the brand. Let's go with the test market data. It's 2 tiny towns, but let's launch it. Okay. What about no way? That simulation has never been wrong. We can't risk it. Stop everything. Ooh, it's split. So what actually happened is that the CEO took a deep breath and said, no, we can't take the risk. We can't launch it. And, the team was crushed and they were very dejected, and they gathered their materials and they were setting off out the door when they heard a very gruff German voice say, wait. And they looked up and it was the COO. Wait, he said. I believe the test market data. I think the simulation is wrong. I believe this will be a success, and I will bet my job on it. Now, that's a bold move. It's even more audacious when you consider the fact that everybody knew that COO in the next 6 to 9 months was going to be named CEO of the company. And that company was only promoted from within. So he wasn't just betting his job, he was betting his career. So the current CEO kind of smiled, took a deep breath, probably thought a little bit about his retirement, and said, all right, let's launch it. And a few months later, Swiffer was launched. It's now a $1 billion brand for Procter & Gamble. So what happened? How did the simulation that had never been wrong before get it wrong? How did the CEO almost make a $1 billion mistake? Now, it's easy to sit back and say, oh, silly P&G, always go with real world data. Don't go with the simulation. But I can tell you, I've been in a lot of boardrooms since that day because, I was in the boardroom. I was one of those very dejected team members. And the conversation is always the same. And the decision is always the same. Because what corporate leaders are looking for is certainty. They're trying to drive out risk. And so they look for the largest set of data. Problem is that data, because there's so much of it, it's about the past. And relying on data about the past to make decisions about your future is like driving and only looking in the rearview mirror. You know, you're going to see something, but it's not going to be helpful. Now, I'm not here to tell you to ignore the data. Absolutely not. Every good driver knows you need to kind of glance up into the rearview mirror every now and then. But if you only look in the rearview mirror, you're going to go off a cliff. And that's what happens to a lot of corporate innovation efforts. So, you know, it's helpful to look at the data. You want to stay looking ahead. And it's important to stay looking ahead because if you only look in the past, that data about your past success is going to lead you to make decisions that kill innovation. So what do we do about that? It's a good question. It's one I've been trying to answer for my entire career because let's be honest, it's been almost 30 years since The Innovator's Dilemma was published. And the success rate of corporate innovation has not changed. And that's despite hundreds of books and thousands of articles and way too many consultants out there dedicated to helping companies do better at innovation. And I think that's the problem. All those books, all those articles, all those consultants treat innovation like a problem to be solved, like an event that has a start date and an end date, and it's not. It is a journey. And like every journey, there are going to be twists and turns. You can be absolutely certain that the unexpected will happen. It will take longer than you think. It will cost more than you want. But in that journey, you will learn lessons that are priceless. And you will become a leader and become a company that is set up for success far into the future. More importantly, with a greater advantage than those who don't go on the journey. So what do you need in order to have a great innovation journey? Well, it's a lot like a road trip. You know, first off, you got to start with a destination in mind. You don't want to just go driving aimlessly around the countryside. And executives are great at this. Executives are great at setting a goal and saying, this is what we need innovation to accomplish for the business. The other thing you need is to pack wisely, because anyone who's gone on a trip knows that if you pack poorly or leave something behind, you are going to regret it. So when you go on a journey, first thing you want is a map. It's probably going to be on your phone, not a paper map. I had to go into the archives. But you want a map that shows you where you are, where you're going, the most efficient way to get there, and all of the other detours and paths along the way. This is your innovation architecture. It's the process, the structure, the governance, the metrics that guide you from where you are today to your goal. And honestly, most corporations are really good at this stuff because it feels very tangible and serious and business-like. The other thing you need for your journey is a driver's license, because it says that at least at some point you knew what the rules of the road were and you knew how to act and interact with the other drivers on the road. These are your innovation behaviors, how you act, interact, and react with the people around you, whether they're in operations or innovation. And the last thing you need for every good road trip is a banging playlist. Probably not on CD anymore, because it sets the vibe for the road trip. This is your culture. This is what sets what's expected, what's rewarded, what's valued. So a map, a driver's license, and a playlist. Innovation architecture, behavior, and culture. You have to pack all three of these things in order to successfully innovate. And most companies only pack one. So now usually at this point in time, I say, okay, very democratically, which one do you want to hear more about? Architecture, behavior, or culture? But time is going quickly. So knowing that you are all leaders, I'm going to take you and we're going to focus on behavior. Because if you remember only one thing from this talk, remember this: innovation is not an idea problem. It is a leadership problem. So I want to introduce you to someone who personally, I think, should be the patron saint of innovation leadership. George Costanza. Now, I know I'm making an American pop culture reference. So, for those of you not familiar with Seinfeld, George here is that friend in every friend group who is always down on his luck. His life is always a little bit of a disaster, mainly because of his own poor choices. Except in one episode. Now, in that episode, it starts with George having been fired again from a job, dumped by yet another girlfriend, and living at home with his parents. But he finally realizes that he's in this situation because of his choices. And so he reasons, if my instincts got me here, the way to get somewhere else is to do the opposite of my instincts. And by the end of the episode, he has his dream job with the New York Yankees, a hot new girlfriend, and his own apartment. And that's what I want for you to be George in this one episode, for you as a leader to do the opposite of your instincts when it comes to innovation. Now, you have a lot of instincts, so I'm going to focus on the 3 most common questions asked when a project is getting started, because this is where you set the tone for whether things are going to be successful or not. Can we do it? What's the NPV, and how quickly can we get to market? Great questions for the start of a project in your core business. Deadly questions for innovation. Instead of can we do it, ask should we do it? Poor product market fit is the number 2 reason startups fail. Running out of money is the first. It's because startups ask, can we do it? Instead of should we do it? Are we solving a problem for people who have a need, are willing to change their behavior, and are we offering a solution that they care about? Instead of what is the NPV, ask what do we need to believe to hit our financial goals? When you focus on NPV or revenue, you're focusing on one box in the model. People know that, so they design for that box. When you ask what do we need to believe, you're focusing on assumptions. Assumptions can be tested. They can be proven. They can be disproven. You can build confidence. And how quickly can we launch? Ask how quickly can we learn? Because launching is expensive and public. And if you have an innovation that isn't viable, your failure will be expensive and public. When you focus on learning, if you have something that's not viable, your failure will be small, private, and cheap. Your success will be the only thing that's public. So, I'm out of time. I really wish that I had more time to share the other ABCs with you, but hopefully this has inspired you just a little bit to embrace your inner George Costanza. Do the opposite of your instincts. Keep your eyes on the road instead of the rearview mirror, and make sure that your success doesn't kill innovation, it accelerates it. Thank you.
Robyn, thank you so much. I have to say, I went with the simulation to start with. And here is the jury's question now from Hans.
Okay.
Yes, Robyn. Well, thank you very much for your great talk. And I listened to it with a lot of interest and very counterintuitive at times. I have a question, because as leaders or CEOs, you often have to deal with investors, shareholders, or other people that are stuck to a more fixed way of thinking. Mm-hmm. How do you sell your idea to those people? Because as a CEO, you have other people that bring in the finances.
Yes, absolutely. And it's a great question. One of the things that I've learned through the course of working in innovation is that innovation is a means to an end. So you've set a strategic goal, you've set a financial goal, and so you tell the story of how innovation drives to that. And one of the key things is so many CEOs feel like it's either all operations and I'm delivering for today, or it's all whiz-bang innovation. And it's not, it's and, not or. So when you can speak about both sides of the business, operation and innovation, and you can tie all of it to a goal that everyone's agreed to, that's how you can get people on board.
I'll try.
All right. I know you can do it.
Okay. Thanks.
Thank you.
Perfect. Robyn, thank you so much.
Thank you.